We'll call our board briefing to order. I'd like to say hello, good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you for coming out. Mr. Dyer, do you have any public comments presentation at this time?
We have a couple. We start Mr. Sumner, and this is National Public Appreciation Month, and we have
We'll call our board briefing to order. I'd like to say hello, good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you for coming out.
We are recording. All right, okay. Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chair, thanks for that. Yeah, this is National Principals Month, and certainly appreciate principals and the work that they do always, particularly during these challenging times we're dealing with COVID-19. We always say leadership matters, and we have some of the best leaders in the state. We're here in the Dougherty County School System, and we just have a brief presentation to acknowledge the work that they do. Thanks, JD. Again, that's just a quick acknowledgement of the principals that we have in the Dougherty County School System. I may be a little biased, but I think they're the best in the state. And we do have two that are here in person, and I want to take time to acknowledge them. Ms. Angie Gardner at the Commodore Conscious College and Career Academy, and of course, Dr. Thelma Chun at the Robert Cross Middle Magnet School. And so thank you in person for doing what you do every day to lead our students and our faculty and staff. And we really appreciate you. And two other presentations, Mr. Chair. One, we'll start with College and Career Academy. Chris Hatcher, if you don't mind, CEO, Angie Gardner, Miss Davis, and Mr. Amos. If you will come up, some of you may have heard already, this happened the first week in October during the Lieutenant Governor's Business and Education Summit. Each year, they present an award for College and Career Academy of the Year. And this year, our very own Commodore Conscious College and Career Academy was recognized as the Georgia College and Career Academy of the Year for 2021. And I think that's a well-deserved honor. A lot of good work is going on there to impact our community and the lives of the people that we serve. And I just want to congratulate them publicly for that recognition. And you see on the board where they have the Lieutenant Governor's proclamation, a copy of the plaque, and again the picture of the I don't know what that thing is called, the floor poster, the poster.
Oh, back there.
Yeah, along with the check, which is very important. What was that check for, Mr. Hatcher? $5,000 check on behalf of the Georgia Power Foundation, presented to 4CA for the work that they do to continue making an impact in our community. And if you would, we'll stand up here for a second, take a brief picture with the board members that are present. One being Miss Poole, who was very instrumental in getting this started a long time ago. And then, of course, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind.
Colleagues across the state. Thank you.
Spoke to Shandu yesterday. We had a good conversation as the chair of the board did. Next, Mr. Chair, we have a recognition of another outstanding school within the Dougherty County school system, Robert A. Cross Middle Magnet School. Dr. Chun and your staff, would you please come forward? We have two recognitions for Robert Cross Middle Magnet School. One was they were named the 2021 Title I Distinguished School, meaning they were in the top 5% of schools performing in the state of Georgia. They were also eligible to participate in a National School of Distinction. We have not received the results from that competition yet, but I think they have a good chance of winning that as well. And then most recently, the U.S. News and World Reports named Robert Cross the second highest ranked middle magnet school in the state of Georgia. I think they're a little off. I think we're number one. I think they're off. I think we're number one, but we'll take number two. And again, Dr. Chun, thank you for your leadership and your staff for doing an extremely, a wonderful job, rather, supporting our students and supporting each other, particularly during these trying times. If we don't mind getting a picture with the staff, and we'll have Ms. Chun. They sent us a banner for your Title I Distinguished School. So we're gonna take a picture with that. If you don't mind. Come build our school. We need to put the walls up.
So proud of my teachers and my students for what they do every day. And in spite of the challenges and the things that we're going through, we're putting our best foot forward. So thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Dougherty, for your support, and the board. We appreciate all of your help and support at all times. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, from the first presentation with our principals to the presentation with 4CA, to the presentation with Robert Cross SCS, a taste of the excellence that exists in the Dougherty County school system and the difference that we're making in our community, not only in the lives of our students, and the lives of our parents and other members of the community. And I think they should be recognized. I'm glad they had an opportunity to come and visit with us today. And I do know you hate being out of your buildings. You're welcome to stay for the entire meeting. But you also welcome to leave if you need to get back and take care of them press today. They don't get all these things done by sitting in meetings all day. They have to work. But feel free to stay if you want to. But we will not be offended if you think you need to leave.
Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you.
Again, Mr. Chair, that's all we have in terms of presentations that were made prior to requests made prior to the board meeting. We do have Mr. William Wright, who made a request. It was after the deadline to have the 10-minute presentation, but he is speaking on an item that is on the agenda. So we can wait till that time on the agenda, or you can have him speak now. He'll have 5 minutes. I would recommend allow him to speak now.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning.
Make sure Mr. Sumner has the information for your colleagues. On agenda item 4, 5, and 6, what we are looking at and bringing to your attention, $25 million being proposed for Westover High School and Dougherty High School. And everyone is making money except the African American or the black community. That is what we'll bring to your attention now. You have as a part of your agenda the page 1 through 4 highlight all of this. What we're looking at and suggesting to you is that we have to do things differently, because that's all we wrote. About 3 months ago, we showed you where we had lost 12,000 people. The Census Bureau has, since that time, confirmed that. And it is not going to get better, because 80% of your population, when you look at the demographics, the students are African American or black, and we're the last ones to get any money. You got $25 million contracts, and nothing in there that will require participation by minority vendors. For your information, this year marked the 57th anniversary of the 1964 Civil Rights Act that required affirmative action, equal opportunity, and participation. So page 5 through 9 is what we're proposing. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. Page 5 through 9 is a DVE program that would address that. And the pages after that are part of the last disparity study, which showed that our $300 million, 74,000 contract, black or African Americans only got 2% or 1,700 contracts. You could go to Las Vegas and come out better if that was not systemic discrimination. And it's fundamentally wrong. Not as wrong as illegal once you've been confirmed and it's been demonstrated that you're discriminating. The 1964 Civil Rights require a lot more than people know. There are 11 titles. One of them require you to begin working on the lingering effects of discrimination, i.e. the systemic forces built into your system. The only thing you do is you have a word called encourage. Encourage is a verb. Logistics in your advertising say we encourage minority business. That's just like saying, William, I would like to have me an Escalade. Now you can encourage me all along, but until you give me some access to capital and some opportunities, I'm probably not going to get that Escalade. So that's what you're doing. In other words, interposition nullification. You're pretending that you're going to follow the 1964 Civil Rights, and yet you're ignoring what is right for you. How in the world could you issue $25 million worth of contracts and have nothing in there to tell the parties that receive it that you need to do something to correct this illegal activity? Now, you look on page 5 to 9, when you get to page 10 through 16, now Mr. Dow had asked before about the last disparity study, it was number 12. That's on page 16, the last item in this handout. It tells you the last study made it clear that we were 100 miles away from a 102-mile trip of doing what we need to do. So item 12 said we have to do, this item 12 on page 16 demonstrated that you have to do more to make programs that only deal with the ill. That's what the Croson decision was about. So you have to narrow tailor a program. You narrow tailor by making it fit the needs of the community of which this discrimination is occurring. So you have that information, and again, Mr. Dyer had asked for item number 12 from the last Thursday. That was 12 recommendations. That was the very last one. But if you look at the page 5 through 9, it deals with the fact that the city, the county school board in particular, take in $80 million a year in just lots of taxes. And African Americans are paying 80 or 90% of these taxes, whether they're talking about property taxes or slots taxes, and we only get 1.5 or 2%. So we're going to come back to you then, Mr. Chair and Superintendent. The last thing I just want to bring to your attention is this. About a month ago, the Georgia High School Association brought to our attention the need to do something about Westover High School. 17% of the students there are out of district, or they're paying the fee, and that means that you're not doing right with Dougherty and Monroe. That means you got about 300 students who are out of district. So we're going to come back to you since that's not on today's agenda with that before your Christmas holiday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Is there
Wright.
any questions? No question?
Yes. Mr. Chairman,
I hear Reverend Bush.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized, please?
Yes, sir, Reverend Bush.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I have, excuse me, thought long and hard about this matter, and I am in agreement with some of it. I think that the money should be spread to the fore, especially in our community, and it shouldn't go to just one or two people or whatever. You know, we should spread the money around, and I don't know about anybody else, but I feel a little embarrassed that we aren't doing that, and we need to do a better job of including people. And I just wanted to make that comment for no other comments, no backfire whatsoever, but that is from my heart.
Thank you, Reverend Bush. Ms. Poole.
Mr. Chairman, I can't hear.
I'm sorry, learning the new mic system. Thank you. I know in time past we've had an opportunity to split or narrow the scope of work, to look at it, to see, to ensure that we can give that opportunity, if possible, where possible. I'm just saying that for the record, if we can ensure that we split or narrow that program so we can, other people have an opportunity to be it and to continue to do the things you're doing by doing the open house for them to come in and meet one another. So we certainly appreciate. We are not where we need to be, Ms. Wright, but I promise we're a long way we were 12 years ago. Because I know there are several projects that we were over the percentage of disadvantaged business. But that's because of hard work that the staff is trying to do to get the vendors together. So we can do more, but thank you, Mr. Dyer, and your staff for what you do, but whatever we can do, we appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
And Superintendent.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for your comments, as well as the comments of Reverend Bush and Ms. Poole. Now, we do have work to do, as I acknowledged prior to. We have done a lot of things in terms of providing access to our minority business community, smaller disadvantaged business community. We can't set quotas. We can't require vendors to hire certain people. That is against the law, the way I understand it. We can encourage, and we do that. We provide open houses. We provide technical assistance. In fact, in several of our contracts, the contractors, general contractors, hired consultants just for providing access to small and disadvantaged businesses. And we'll continue those efforts. We have begun researching through other communities, the programs that they have, to see what can fit here, what we can implement here. And we'll continue to do that in an effort to provide equitable access to all of the opportunities, procurement opportunities within the Dougherty County School System. Thank you very much.
Okay, well,
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
we thank you for that, but one of the things I'll just say to you in leaving, page 5 through 9 is not a quota program. It's a program that the federal government tests each year.
We didn't say 5 through 9 with a quota program. Your time is up, so I appreciate that. We'll certainly be able to talk to you after the meeting if you want to go with more details.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to go and get a head start on my Christmas shopping, so I'll get with you after that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Remember me when you're going.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Reverend Bush.
I quite frankly fully comprehend and understand that the law is against quotas. What I'm talking about is pure participation.
Want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. Well, we are on the same page in terms of trying to provide opportunities to increase participation for small and disadvantaged businesses. That's what our effort has been the last several years, and we'll continue those efforts. And we're looking at ways to improve that, and we'll continue to do that until we get to where we think we should be, providing that access.
All right, we'll move on now. If there are no more questions, next we will review agenda items, give board members an opportunity to ask questions, to make comments. Mr. Superintendent, will we need an executive session today?
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, we need an executive session if time permits, but I do not anticipate any action being requested after the executive session. So we could wait until after the regular board meeting to keep the time for the meeting so that we won't extend the time of the people here.
All right, so board member, we'll have an executive session after our regular meeting.
Just safety, personnel, and possible litigation.
Okay. Board members, you have any question about the agenda? Item 1, consideration and adoption of the minutes from the mid-month board meeting held on August 25th, 2001. Are there any questions? Okay, regular board meeting, I'm sorry, October 11th, 2021.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from October 11th, 2001.
I second that motion.
Now we're just going,
Right, I'm sorry. I apologize.
yeah, we're just going over the briefing right now. Thank you.
Oh,
Item 2. Okay. Now, minutes for our special call board meeting that was held on October the 14th. We need to approve those minutes also.
No question.
Are there any questions? Okay. All right, now we'll go to item number 2, consideration and recommendation for employment of personnel. Are there any questions? Item 3, consideration and recommendation for release of personnel. Are there any questions?
nope.
4, consideration of recommendation to approve from the Building and Ground Committee, A. Do we have any questions? Capital outlay project funding application certification. No question. We'll go to 5, consideration of recommendation to approve from staff. A. Westover High School Phase 2 construction project architectural contract. 5B, Dougherty High School New Gymnasium Project. Are there any questions? None. We'll move to 6, consideration and recommendation to approve from the Finance Committee A, GADOE grant budgets. Any questions? B, corrective action plan. 6C, Tyler Drive Solution. 6D, Audio Enhancement Project. Are there any questions? 7, consideration and recommendation for to approve out-of-state field trips.
Sure. That would include the out-of-state. I'm sorry. We have one for a fundraising activity that was submitted. That usually goes in this category as well.
Okay.
And we emailed it to board members yesterday afternoon. It was received in the central office prior to the deadline. It was not forwarded to my office in time to get on the board agenda. We don't want to hold the school accountable for our lack of getting it on the board agenda in time. So we would, the board would ask that they consider approving this fundraiser along with the items in item 7.
So this will be 7A.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, 7A. All right. Any question, board members?
Mr. Chairman, I needed to go back for a second.
Okay, Ms. Poole.
Just for 5, I just want to let the staff know, thank you for including the staff in that process this time. I think that will work so much better down the road, that they have an input on making decisions for their schools. I think that was, so thank you for even whomever came up with it. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, ma'am. And for those that not familiar with that, in the past, the facility staff has identified the architects for each project. This year, after a recommendation from members of our Building and Grounds Committee, we included school staff in that selection process, allowed them to, gave them the opportunity to give input and make recommendations on which architect out of the short list that the board approved that will work on their project. And that process did work very well. Schools were very appreciative of that opportunity. And I think that'll go a long way toward ensuring that a good, healthy relationship exists between the architect and the client, which is the school in each case. And we look forward to that process continuing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Do we have any committee reports? No committee. Mr. Superintendent, are you ready for your report?
Sir.
All right. Hear your report at this time.
Superintendent. Okay, is that better? Okay. All right. We'll go over our incentives, our booster information. I'll talk about our SPLOST bond issuance. And we'll also give updates on our beginning of the year data review and analysis. Comments on Dr. Mosley and some other items. And then, of course, the executive session, if the board wishes, will be after at the conclusion of our regular board meeting. COVID-19 data. As of yesterday, our 7-day rolling average of new cases in Dougherty County is 6. As of October 8th, which was the information provided at our last board meeting, we were at 24.43. We've seen a significant decline in our 7-day rolling average of new cases. Our 14-day period is still considered high. Our tube change is decreasing. Our PCR positivity rate is down slightly from 9.8 on October 8th to 9.3. As of October 26th, Phoebe Albany had 40 COVID-19 patients. That's down from 62 COVID-19 patients as of October 8th, which was reported at our last board meeting. And approximately 85% of those patients in Phoebe are not vaccinated. Vaccine update, approximately 1,990 employees have submitted documentation of being fully vaccinated. That's approximately 93% of our employees. 303 of those became fully vaccinated after the board approved the incentive program. Our vaccine booster shots, educators are not eligible for vaccine boosters. That includes Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. At our previous meeting, it included Pfizer only, but now the other 2 vaccines have been approved for boosters. We partner with Albany Area Primary Healthcare in Phoebe to offer a vaccine booster event on Thursday, October 7th. 75 doses were administered. Another vaccine booster event is scheduled for November 5th. We've been reporting for some time the process for vaccination eligibility for youth between the ages of 5 and 11. We're pleased to report that that process has received approval from the FDA. CDC approval is expected next week, but it's currently pending. And once that is approved, we have begun having discussions with Albany Area Primary Healthcare and Phoebe Putney to provide access to vaccinations for those students, youth aged 5 to 11. Of course, that will require parental consent, and we'll work the best way to get that information out to our parents, as well as provide ease of access to the vaccine. Information on our SPLOST. Of course, in the last meeting, we had an estimate on our SPLOST information. Here is our final schedule. The 14th, we had our special call board meeting. On the 18th, as scheduled, the Dougherty County Commission approved the tax levy resolution. The bond did close on schedule on October 21st. The bond issuance par amount was $28,565,000. The reissue premium was $4,068,898.50 for gross proceeds of $32,633,898.50. Capitalized interest and cost of issuance, and then underwriter discount was deducted for net proceeds into our construction account of $30,663,103.06, and those funds will be used to fund both the Westover project and the Dougherty High School project as we begin construction with the next few months. Beginning of the year data review. As you know, we talked about our Reach to Learn initiative and our accelerating learning to address learning loss. We began formative assessments earlier this year through a reading inventory, a phonics inventory, a math inventory, a Beacon formative assessments that's provided through Department of Education, a Mirror, iRead, Read 180, System 44, which is part of our early literacy initiative. We have data back from all of those formative assessments, and that data has been analyzed. We're meeting with schools to go over that data to look at a course of action in terms of identifying those gaps that students have, largely in part due to the disrupted learning caused by the pandemic over the last year and a quarter. Data will be presented to the Instructional Accountability Committee beginning their next meeting. We'll also have schools present their data as well. Leading into that, our Reach to Succeed initiative, which is an early learning initiative of the school system. We began those walkthroughs this week. We've already begun professional learning. These are the things that we'll be looking at: Saxon phonics for our teachers and coaches, letters sessions, which is a curriculum geared toward early learning, professional learning for letters as well. Looking at our mirror benchmark assessments, benchmark usage. We look at our student growth, also our units of study for our K-2 teachers, our guided reading in our K-2 classrooms, implementation of letters in our first grade, and Saxon phonics classroom implementation for our kindergarten and second grade teachers. This initiative has been well received by our schools, and we look forward to seeing tremendous results during the year with our progress monitoring, but also at the end of the year when we have our milestone assessments. Dr. David C. Moulton, as we discussed at the last meeting, passed away on October 8th. And the board passed a resolution, adopted a resolution at the last board meeting, which was presented to the family prior to the celebration of life ceremony that was held on October 16th on his farm in Climax. And then on October 21st, an announcement was made at the Spring Bootstrap to rename the Office of Rural Education and Innovation to the Dr. David Bush Mosley Office of Rural Education and Innovation in recognition of his almost 50 years in service to public education throughout the state. I think that's a very fitting honor bestowed upon Dr. Mosley. His daughter, Selena, was there along with her husband and their son to be part of that announcement, and she was surprised but very well pleased and appreciative rather that the state, the Georgia Department of Education saw fit to name the Office of Rural Education and Innovation on behalf of her father, and we were certainly pleased with that as well. Other items, staffing challenges. As you may have seen, there's a labor shortage everywhere you go. You see a help wanted sign, whether it's fast food restaurants or retail establishments, even other areas in the supply chain. And Mr. Wright mentioned that he was going to get his Christmas shopping, start his Christmas shopping. I think that's very, very smart, particularly this year, as they say that the supply chain issues are going to impact the delivery of a lot of quote-unquote holiday gifts. So it's best to start early. The school system is not immune to that challenge. We have shortages in our bus drivers, shortages in our custodial staff, and although we did provide pay increases, significant pay increases to those categories of employees, and we provided retention incentives for those employees as well, we still have staffing challenges. We're not as bad as some school systems I'm aware of, but we are not resting on the fact that we're able to get our needs met currently, looking at ways to continue to attract and retain employees through this very challenging labor market. There'll be more information provided to the board regarding our strategies in that regard in future meetings. Finally, as I mentioned to the board earlier, last week was a very tough week for us in the Dougherty County School System. We lost 3 of our family members. We lost a paraprofessional, Ms. Vanessa Johnson, from International Studies. Services were held for her on October 23rd. Mr. Sheffield, a student at Westover, passed away in a dirt bike accident. His services are scheduled for this Saturday, October 30th. And then Miss Michelle Smith, a tennis clerk at Dougherty High School, passed away last Thursday. That was last Tuesday, last Wednesday, and last Thursday. She passed away last Thursday, and her services also are scheduled for this Saturday, October 30th. So please continue to keep the International Studies, Westover High School, Dougherty High School family in your prayers, as well as the blood families and friends of our 3 lost colleagues. It was a tough week last week for us at the Dougherty County School System and for these individual families. But again, we will continue to push through and do what we're called to do as needs of our students in our schools. But that's it, Mr. Chair. I have no further information to present unless there are any questions.
Board members, do you have any questions to the superintendent? Hearing none, are you gonna give the financial report, Mr. Dodd?
Yes, sir, I can. As if, Mr. Chair, if the financial report was included with the agenda, and this is the financial report ending June 30. As you know, school systems have until September 30th to close out their books for the prior fiscal year. We did close our books out prior to that date, so we submitted that information timely, and this is a compilation of that work. As you can see, we ended the year with a we still say projected fund balance because these are not audited figures yet. The audit has not yet begun. Projected fund balance of $30,796,259. I want to thank Ms. Hatcher and the entire finance team for the work that they've been doing to manage our resources with an effort always to be good stewards, invest funds wisely, get maximum return from our investments. That's the investment in financial investments as well as our investments in our students and our employees. I think we've been doing that. Are there any questions associated with the general fund report? Any questions regarding the other funds that are included in the second sheet? You may notice that in the special revenue fund, there is a negative fund balance, and that is because the budgets for the CARES 2 funds, ESSER 2 funds, were not, ESSER 3 funds rather, were not approved by the state prior to the closeout, and so we have a receivable set up for that amount. That amount has been cleared as of now, and we're moving forward. So that is not an issue, even though you see that negative figure there in terms of the special revenue fund. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Any questions?
Are there any questions, board members, about the superintendent's report or the financial report? Okay, hearing none. We will close out this part of our meeting and go into our regular board meeting. So this briefing is now closed. Now call the meeting, our regular board meeting, and if we would stand, have a moment of silence and pledge allegiance to our flag. Thank you. We do have one change to our agenda. That is add to item number 7, be 7A. That's the only change.
Fundraiser for Monroe High School.
Yes, fundraiser for Monroe High. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
The motion and second that we approve the agenda as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, All right, the agenda is approved. Consideration for the adoption of our minutes from our regular meeting held on October the 11th and a special call meeting held on October the 14th. Can we get a
I
motion?
move.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion second that we approve the minutes for October the 11th and October the 14th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No opposes? I will entertain a motion at this time for a consent agenda.
So move.
So move.
Popular motion is second that we have a consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have no opposes?
That includes items 2 through 7, 8.
7A.
That include item 2 through 7A. Yes, sir, Mr. Superintendent. Um, all right. We will go into executive session at this time.
Motion to go in executive session for
I
safety,
second.
personnel, and litigation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I second.
Did we need
Did we
to
get a
adjourn
second?
this meeting? Okay.
Do we get a second on that?
Second.
All right. Thank you. Motion and second that we go into executive session at this time.
Thank you.
We're now in executive session. Now, in our regular board meeting,
Motion to adjourn.
Second that motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.